Rome, the Romans, the Latins, non-barbarians, Romanitas, whatever you want to call them, our friends the Romans had an elaborate cultural history. Beginning with the she-wolf, Romulus and Remus, the great empire and its culture were born. But who were these Romans? Where did they come from? Why would anybody want to be a Roman citizen? How could that be used for the benefit of someone? This and many more questions will be answered in the brief video by Tyler, Josh, and Evan. Who were the Romans? Here are some speed facts to catch us all up on Rome. Found on the Iberian Peninsula in the Mediterranean, this large nation took up the majority of Europe and Eurasia, creating one of the largest empires known to man. They were very exclusive when it came to citizenship at first, but like any good running shoe, got worn as time went on. And when I say exclusive, I mean exclusive, as they were known to be virile racists, considering anyone not Roman not human. As well, they had internal ways of becoming a citizen. Though difficult, it was well worth the struggle. To the Romans and all those who lived during classical antiquity, being a Roman citizen held high regards. The birthright of a Roman citizen was very important to the individual, as it signified his class and value. If you were unlucky and born outside of Rome or the Roman Empire, it was extremely rare to gain citizenship. This right was for the select few who were born male, whose bloodline was pure, and with land in the family. All Roman citizens believed their way of life was the pinnacle of knowledge and culture. For those who were not, these barbarians, uncultured and unhuman, were not fit for civilized life. How then could they fit into the greater empire as a whole? From the Madley reading, it claims Romans from different states in the empire viewed each other as different. How could this be? According to the Roman upper class, the governing body who decides who and what is Roman, they should be equal. They are both Roman citizens, are they not? It is questioned whether there was any real Roman culture at all, as it was mostly decided by the upper class and for the upper class. Harsh racism and violence towards outsiders were commonplace, as xenophobia was an institutionalized part of Roman life. But as the empire expanded, Romanitas could not be contained. As far as the empire stretched, so too did its culture. It was imposed on the people of the empire without choice, just like the Imperials of the Star Wars universe. Like that of the fictional space classic, slavery was an important facet in Roman life and its economy. Slaves were barbarians of one of the conquered land or another, and were used and traded across the empire. What made Roman slaves different than that of Greek slaves was, although incredibly unlikely, they could gain their citizenship after they were freed. Whereas in ancient Greece, a slave was a slave until they died. One way any member of the Roman Empire could become a citizen was to join the auxiliary army. After your service was complete, you and your children became Roman citizens, and your sons could join one of the Roman legions. Everyone comes from somewhere, and before you were there, you were somewhere else. That is what colonization is. Virgil's account of the Trojan escape after its annihilation shows the roots of Roman heritage and their first colonization of a foreign land. Their ancestral homeland was Italy, told to them by Apollo during their escape. Once there, they encountered the locals, who were not pleased that these new guests had arrived, and were even more upset with their plans to stay. Written history does not allow for us to know the exact details, but what most likely happened was a slow melting of the two cultures into one, forming a single state. The article makes the point of comparing this mythical legend with the current Israel-Palestine crisis. Similarities are brought up about both situations. How in Virgil's text could the words Trojan, the massacre, and Mycenaeans seamlessly be replaced by Jew, the Holocaust, and the Nazis. The unbridled hate each of the groups received, scapegoated and belittled to the point where they were no longer safe in their homes, even friendly similar down to the smallest detail, such as the removal of an olive tree. Which brings me to discuss how this reading fits into the idea of Roman culture. In our best opinion, the situation between the Trojans and the Etruscans, and the situation between the Jews and the Palestinians, all plays into a larger narrative. That is the idea of homeland and ethnicity. Who is from where? And who has the rights to what? Who governs what? Who governs who? Is anyone keeping track? It is comical to point out how xenophobic Roman citizens were, considering their ancestors were people of another nation to begin with. The same goes for a hot-button topic like immigration in the United States today. If we were to get technical, only indigenous peoples of North America belong. It would be a stretch to say that any colonizers of Europe discovered or earned this land. It was stolen from the hands of a weaker people. And that is also how the early Romans got their beginning, by stealing foreign land from a foreign people and calling it home.